I showed you how to create a click track and how important they are. I'm going to reiterate that and go to track and hit click track. The goal of this particular video is to do some basic drum programming. But in doing so, I'm going to talk about tempo. I'm going to talk about the click. I'm going to play some drums live on the keyboard. And I'm going to draw some drums and edit some drums and fix them. All right, so this is going to jump into the MIDI editor, which reminds me I should do a little video on the MIDI editor itself. But in any case, let's see. We have a session open. We have a click track. Currently, our tempo is set to 140 BPM. That's a little fast for me. So I'm going to just hit the plus sign here and go back to my more comfortable 90. I'll even go to 85. Not that. That would be bad. 85. Okay. I'm going to go to track. I want to put some drums in. So I need an instrument track. For this case, a mono instrument track is totally appropriate. I'm just going to make one. I'm going to double click on the nameplate. Call these drums. I'm going to go insert. I'm going to stick with expand and just keep it simple. We have some really cool drum sounds, either samples or in battery. But I'm going to choose, let's just go straight to the top, urban beat. So if I'm sitting at my MIDI controller, if I'm in the -1 octave, my first C, all the way to the left on my 25 key controller. If you're at a larger keyboard, you may not need to octave down. You won't. That's a kick drum. The C sharp is usually in other instruments another kick drum or a side stick of some kind. Your D is a snare. Your D sharp is a clap of some kind. But really, just remember that C is often kick, D is a snare, and F sharp is a closed hi-hat. G sharp is usually kind of a mid hi-hat or a different kind of hi-hat in this particular instance. And then your A sharp is an open hi-hat. Slightly different because this is an electronic kit, but basically that's just a rule to remember. All right, so I have sounds. I'm just playing notes on my piano. So you probably hear two things. One, me beating on some plastic coming through the microphone, and then the sounds themselves. All right, so I'm going to record something. I'm going to make sure I'm at the beginning of my session. I'm going to leave my metronome on. My click track is not muted, so I should hear it. I'm going to leave my count off so I can hear 2 bars or 8 beats before anything starts to record. So I'm going to listen to that click track as a way of preparing myself for the tempo that's coming up. I found the keys on, I'm going to use the clap instead. I've found the keys on the piano that I want to use. And I'm actually going to try and play all 3 notes or parts at the same time. It may not be great. So I have my hi-hat, my clap, and my kick. We'll see what happens. Record, and oh, it's going to say no tracks are record enabled because the track that I actually want to record on doesn't have its record enable button pressed. There you go. Record and play. All right, gives us enough to play with. I can take that out of record ready. So I recorded 4 different notes. So this gives us the opportunity to kind of look at a couple different things here. Actually, I had 5 notes. I take it back. This bottom set of notes, because they are the lowest in pitch, represent my kick drum. This one here is the snare drum. The more constant is the hi-hat. At one point, I hit the other closed hi-hat thinking it might sound different. It was very slight. And then at the end, I hit a closed hi-hat. Let's listen, open hi-hat. Let's listen to what I recorded. All right, 2 things right away. 1, the drums are offbeat. Most important, actually, that's the first thing. And that's the beauty, and that gives us a chance to talk about the grid. All right, remember these lines I talked about in the introductory overview video on the edit window. They represent the beats. I was playing, I can look at my grid at 16th notes. So I'm looking at, if I highlight back from measure 2, I'm looking at 16 lines. What I want to see are these, I'm playing an 8th note pattern on, actually forget the hi-hats. Let's look at the snare drum. The left edge of this note should be butted up against beat 2. So this line that I just selected should not be going right through the note. The note should be just to the right of it. So using our grid to our grabber tool, I'm doing it from within using the Smart tool. I'm going to double click. It's the same thing as just going to Window, MIDI Editor. And I see these drums in a different window. I'm going to zoom. So you have, some things that you can do. You can do the zoom tool again by highlighting. I prefer to just use my command bracket. I'm going to close don't need my instrument at this point. So a couple things. We can click on these notes over here, these piano keys, to hear what's behind them. We can click on the notes themselves that we created as a reminder. All right. And yeah. So we haven't edited anything yet. I'm going to play it back again, and I want you to watch and listen to, like, this note is early. To be on beat, be right there. Okay, that's what I meant. Just right up against the beat. This is beat 2. This is beat 4. So our next clap is super early, as are our kick drums. But I'm just going to leave those for now. Let's listen to the click track and these drums and see how off they are. Now watch the notes and listen. All right, so I'm just going to fix a couple measures to make it sound good. All right. Now, this could be done a couple different ways, but just as an introduction, I want to show you just to use your grabber tool. Again, you can do this, as you scroll around. You can use your trim tool or your grabber, which is the pointed finger. And I'm going to click on it and kind of move over to the right. We're currently in grid mode in our MIDI edit window. Notice that the edit window has its own set of edit tools. So if I go into slip here, it's not putting the edit window into slip. But in any case, if I were to take a note in slip mode, I can move it anywhere. In grid mode, it's going to snap to the grid lines. For now, I'm going to stick to the grid lines. Some people, some advanced players might say, well, that's not very human. It's not going to have a human feel because humans do kind of drift around the beat a little bit. It's true. It's true. But right now, we're going to stick to the saying that the grid is our friend. All right? Any advanced users or even intermediate users are saying, what is he doing? Moving all these notes. There's such easier way to do that. True. Oops. Undo. Command Z. I'm just doing this. I don't want to introduce too many things at once. So that does give me the opportunity. What I just did was kind of like a flub. The length of these notes, see how this note is longer? It really doesn't matter when you're dealing with drums. Drums are very short attack and sustained sounds. So typically, if I get kind of OCD about it, and I do, I'll make each one of these notes just take up a 16th note. Shortening a hi-hat hit, for example, does absolutely nothing because a hi-hat is such a short sound. Lengthening it does nothing. Changing it, to be honest, does nothing. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but you know, get the idea. All right, so I'm going to move my kick drums. I know that kick drum really wants to be on beats 1, 2, 1, and 3. So that one was really, really early. The reason I sometimes make these bigger is just they're easier to move around. All right, so now we're going to listen to this. Oh, right there. So interesting. I wasn't paying attention. That was super early. That wasn't so bad. All right. So now, what could I do with this? A lot of things, actually. So one, I can talk to you about the idea that this, let's count this, actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is a 4-measure drum loop, but we have a whole other measure of recorded space with no notes in them. So that's lame. 2 ways to get rid of it. Place your cursor, Command E, select it, delete, or for that matter, use your trim tool, bring it in so it goes up until beat 1 of measure 5. Now it's a 4-measure loop perfectly. And if we were to play it and let it finish, because we have loop playback on, it'll just keep going in a circle. 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Get the idea. All right, what I can't explain is why I don't see beats 2, 3, and 4 of measure 4, but I don't need it. All right, so what else can we do? We can go back into our MIDI editor so that I can at least show you. This can all be done through drawing as well. So actually, I'm going to make a new track. No. I'm going to create a new video. Okay, so that was... No, I'm not done. Haha.